Welcome to the Elements of Spirit reading for the week of 3/20/2017. It's the first day of spring, and these are the Earth readings. They are for the signs of Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Earth element, spin us your yarn. So what they show me here is they show big, earthy, dirt-covered arms hugging yourself. So to tie it to the ether reading, you guys, you are the piece of shit that you are trying to throw out, and you are the gold within it that must be salvaged and saved and adored and loved. Ooh, that's a friend calling me. I don't know if that affected you, but so the idea is that like so with all of these different readings, we got the ether telling us about it's lovingly treasuring your most mortal flaws and looking at yourself until, looking at a tendency, a pattern, a behavior, something that maybe you want to move on from, but that actually has something valuable within it. This is actually saying that all of you are being a little dramatic right now. Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo, and that you are trying to throw yourself out with the bathwater, and that there's like this fundamental rejection of self on some very core, comprehensive level that just feels like a wicked harsh toke, brah. The affirmation is, I embrace my worst tendencies and see them anew. So this is actually saying to go, and so the fire, I think it was the fire, yeah. The fire reading was all about finding strength in the most toxic patterns of your family. And this is actually about going in and finding that strength within yourself and not just loving, whatever it was that you threw out until you can find the goodness in it. This is actually saying, wow, I'm being really harsh on myself, and I need to take a good, long, hard look at myself. So, whereas in the ether reading, it's saying, I'm rooting out the gold in the middle of the shit. For you guys, it's actually saying, look a little bit harder at the shit. Look at your worst tendencies. Look at what is something that you do that you don't like it when you do it. What is some aspect of your being that you think is appalling? And the idea here is to ask yourself a second question, which is, what adjustments do I need to make in order to turn these liabilities into valuabilities? What do I need to adjust in order to see this tendency anew? So it really does. It really does sound a lot like the ether reading. Whereas with the air readings too, the air readings were all about how to take that thing that I was about to throw away inside of myself and find the goodness in it, and then turn to something outside of myself and try to salvage it. This is actually like, it's kind of an oh shit moment, you guys. It just really feels to me like you might be leaving your whole self behind. And that's why. It's because there's a resistance to looking at something that's in shadow. And the idea here is that you actually want to chase the shadow. Period. Chase the shadow, face the shadow. Find the shadow, look at the shadow. Embrace the shadow. Forgive the shadow. See the shadow anew. It's very multidimensional. It's very layer upon layer. My sense is too is that this is going to have to do, that this, if you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, sit on it. Because it also feels like something's going to pellet you. Like something happens which is scary or which shakes you off your rocker, and it feels like that's the moment that you're going to need to remember, oh, the reason why I'm dissociating right now is because I'm trying to not be who I actually am, and I need my tendencies, even my worst tendencies, in order to meet whatever stimulus this is that's coming my way. So the idea is like, if I'm a fraidy cat, right? If I'm a fraidy cat and something happens which scares me, and that's the thing that I hate about myself. I'm just like, ugh, I hate my tendency towards fearfulness. And like something happens to me that would typically make me feel afraid. I could be all gruff and like, I'm not afraid of anything. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I'm going to do it. Versus saying, I'm terrified. I'm fucking terrified. Why am I so terrified? Oh, I'm terrified because I care so much. And that's a strength. Maybe my fear is not so toxic. Maybe my fear is a sign that I care. And that the trick is to care more and not less. So, and then just to reiterate, the idea is that like if the ether reading is all about finding that aspect of self, that dynamic, that pattern, that behavior that you're getting rid of, and revisiting it, loving it, adoring it until you find it again, until you find the gold in it. The idea with you guys is that do that like now, do that now, make that note now, do the ether practice now, say the ether affirmation now. And then keep this one in your back pocket because it just feels like you're going to need that message again. Not only is there something valuable in this dynamic, maybe I'm moving on from myself too fast anyway. Maybe there's something that I'm patently rejecting about myself, which in this moment I need to welcome back in. Maybe I need to be a hard ass because that's all that's going to save the day right now. Maybe I need to be passive because this issue has nothing to do with me. And if I try to come in guns blazing and be the aggressor, that I'm really not, just because I've decided that I need to move on from my passivity. Maybe this is a moment where I actually have to welcome in not just the gold that's at the center of that shit nugget that we discovered in the ether reading. Maybe I just need to welcome it all back in. Maybe I need to just look at it all again. Maybe I need to just give myself one other chance and presume, I don't know, I need to know. I welcome all of myself back in. I embrace my worst tendencies and see them anew. Because that's the arsenal within which the tools are located that I need to uncover the gold within myself in the name of offering it to my beloveds, to the world at large, to that which I care about most. I embrace my worst tendencies and see them anew. That's the Earth reading for the week of 320. Te quiero, te quiero. I'll see you soon. Mwah.